Tell me when you guys are videoing already.
I was gonna ask you.
I
don't know. She was doing this,
Space is the place that's really free. There's no limit to the things you can do. There's no limit to the things you can be. Your thought is free and your life is worthwhile. These are lyrics from Sun Ra, who was a famous jazz musician who said he was from outer space. And most people don't know about Sun Ra, but he actually had an alien abduction experience. I think it happened in Huntsville, Alabama, when he was in college in the 1930s. And he said these space beings sent him in a beam of light, and he was sent to the planet Earth to help humanity and play music. He was a musician in Birmingham, Alabama, and he was playing music, but he was always interested in cosmic things. And he ended up having his band in Chicago, and it was very successful, but his theme was about outer space and how important it is in ancient Egypt. And he was gearing his audience to Black Americans, but it was really universal. I went to see him many times, and his audience was almost always Europeans. They seemed to understand his message. It's universal space. That humans are a universal species. And that's what disclosure is about to me, is that humans are universal. We're all over the universe. We're not just on Earth. And people have been relearning their heritage that they had from ancient times. Seems like the volume went down.
Yeah, it's been really loud and messes up the recording. So we turn that part.
Okay, that's
the
good.
recording comes out better.
As long as you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we're good.
But in ancient times, people knew they were divine, and then somehow they fell. And now we are reaffirming that there's this connection. And that's part of disclosure, is realizing that we have a galactic heritage. One of the first people to emphasize that, hello there, was Eric von Daniken with the Chariots of the Gods. That was very pivotal to get people to understand our ancient heritage, that there's all these anomalies, and it's got to be something from space. It's got to be some beings came here and settled here. And that's a big part of disclosure, is to verify that this is true. But the people who teach these things are always considered conspiracy theorists, or what's the other thing? Oh, pseudoscience. But it's actually the true science. So I'm going to talk about the state of disclosure now, like what's happening on the scene. It's becoming a catchphrase now, with the UAP hearings, David Grush, these type of things. But I feel like we don't really need the governments, any government, to tell us how to think or what to determine is real. We have to think for ourselves. So some considerations of disclosure. I don't know if you guys can see screen. Why haven't they shown themselves yet? Maybe we're not ready. A lot of people aren't, but some people are. War doesn't cultivate an inviting atmosphere. Maybe it's because of all the wars happening. In the Galactic Federation of Worlds, they emphasize understanding and balance, justice and balance in the universe. There's not justice on Earth. That's a big problem. Also says, don't worship the messenger. A lot of the beings that came to Earth in ancient times ended up being worshipped. They don't want to be worshipped. Elena Denon has a connection with Enki, and he said, we don't want to be worshipped, and that's why I'm not coming back to Earth. So there's a rise in disclosure-related activity. Age of Disclosure documentary, I believe, a film. There's going to be another one, Disclosure Day. Steven Spielberg, he seems to set the pace for popularity of alien themes. There's also the aliens.gov or alien.gov or alien.com official government website. I'm doubtful that they're going to put much of the type of things I'm looking for, like galactic races. They're just going to have things about sightings and maybe that they could be aliens and that they might be a threat. That's just the type of things I'm expecting. Potential reptilian interference. There's supposedly been a battle between the reptilians and the good extraterrestrials, which is talked about in Secret Space Program, that they did deals with, say, the Nazis even, and then abductions and MK Ultra and super soldier programs 20 and back. Those are some of the fruits of those things with the reptilians. Hidden UFO and alien meeting locations. There's also, in the disclosure community, there's a lot of squabbles. That one person has one set of information and another person has another set, and they're like, oh, this is false, or this is disinformation agents. I don't always say I know, but there's certain people I like to resonate with, but I like to be open to hear all the information. Media denial of ET reality. They always say, usually conclude with, there's no evidence of extraterrestrial life. It's probable because there's millions of galaxies and stars, but we don't know. But I believe they do know. Based on one thing is what happened with Roswell. I really believe that the crash retrieval things were saved and were used for some of the technology we have right now. I really believe that. It's demonstrated in Colonel Corso's book, The Secrets. What is it? The Day After Roswell. The possible Stargate in Iran, that's an issue now. Maybe why there's all the wars there, because there's an energy field there in the Starseed Envoy program, which I will get into a little bit about that. Why haven't they shown themselves yet? Are we ready? One reason why the ET human races have not had more outward interaction with the general population of Earth human races, because the current general consciousness of humanity has not been in the proper state of energetic or etheric purity to be prepared for meeting extraterrestrial advanced civilizations. We have to be ready. We have to develop our consciousness and cooperation, but not just in advancement technological. Ryan Belly had a good presentation yesterday about AI, how it could be something that could take over humanity. We have to retain our humanity in balance with the AI as an assistant. That's the way I see it. Many ET races are beings of high energy, and not everyone on Earth could physically handle to be within the vicinity of some of these races. Why haven't they shown themselves yet? War doesn't cultivate an inviting atmosphere. I don't know if you want to read that, or I'll read some of it. In the Galactic Federation of Worlds, which is said to be, by a few, to be prominent in affairs of civilizations in our galaxy, they have certain standards and protocols. It's called the Prime Directive, that they have to follow in respect to interaction with people on Earth. They have a code of conduct related to the law of non-interference, which is part of the Prime Directive, a set of rules which guides the interactions between a more advanced civilization and those less advanced. Don't worship the messenger. I also mentioned that. There's a rise in disclosure-related activity. The public hearings, testimonies, publication, conferences like ours. I believe this conference, I wish it was more well attended. I think we have some of the best speakers and people even in the audience.
Right.
We really do. I meet the best people here, and I've been to Galactic Spiritual Informers Conference and Rob Potter's conference. I've met some great people there. My favorite, Elena Denon, and others, Tony Rodriguez. But here I've had more meaningful interactions here at this Saeed's 5D event. I really have. 2025's age of disclosure. I didn't see that. I don't know, has anybody here seen that? I didn't see it. It featured 34 senior members of the U.S. government military intelligence community, revealing cover-ups of non-human intelligent life and secret war to reverse engineer the technology, which I've been talking about. This is what I'm excited to see, even though I don't really go by the films. Steven Spielberg apparently has a film, Disclosure Day, coming out June 12th, which is my mother's birthday. She's still alive, thank God. Steven Spielberg has created many movies and TV shows in the past that are forms of soft disclosure. Now, a lady that was married to Brad Steiger, Francie Steiger, she, in an interview in 1982, mentioned this, how aliens or extraterrestrials have been they've been doing soft disclosure over 50, 60 years, and this is a part of it. So he is the perfect director to create a film that is much more blatant about disclosure in the year that much disclosure is meant to happen. The trailer says that the truth belongs to the 7 billion people of Earth. There are officially 8 billion. Maybe the other billion are aliens. That's possible. Starseeds. There's this aliens website. They said it's been registered by the US government in March of this year. This was supposedly done in preparation for whatever amount of disclosure is about to happen. Through scheduled declassification of UFO-related documents. I don't know if you all know if they've actually done that. Have they actually declassified any files? I don't think so. They say they have, but I don't know of any. Has it changed any information that's already out there? I don't think it has. While the UFO-related files from publicly known agencies might be revealed, it is unlikely we'll get any documents from inside like SSP or MyLab or MKUltra. The ones that really matter, they probably won't reveal. That's my professional opinion. Studying this since 2016. I was inspired to study this. One reason is because of Maria Orsic in the Vril Society in Germany, and they allegedly received communication from beings from Aldebaran and were instructed to build these anti-gravity craft, but somehow the Nazis intercepted that program. They built it for war, but the beings that contacted Maria Orsic, apparently they really didn't prove of that, but it happened anyways. This is something that my friend added in here, UFO of God, Chris Bledsoe. I don't know a lot about him. I guess my audience may know more about him. According to his book, UFO of God, Chris Bledsoe, he was told during a contact experience there's supposed to be a major shift in paradigm around Easter 2026. That's a couple of weeks. When the red star of Regulus aligns just before dawn in the gaze of the Sphinx, a new knowledge shall come into the world. He said, I was not sure what that meant. I have come to understand that around Easter 2026, there will be an end of the old way and a beginning of the new. There's a paradigm shift going on, something Elena Donan stressed. It's not the end of the world. It's not the second coming of Jesus, which is more, in my opinion, about Christ consciousness than rather Jesus himself. He was an agent of God, helping to bring God consciousness to earth. It's not about him being the ruler of the world. That's my take on the Christian message. He also said, the phrase new knowledge shall come into the world could mean many different things, but the way it has been interpreted by both author and audience has been context of disclosure. Will disclosure happen soon?
Slide.
This slide is referencing serpents as being wisdom, but some people see serpents as being deceiving. There are many contactee cases involving serpentine elements. Could be something to do with reptilians. Multiple alien contact cases, including Chris Bledsoe, have included mentions of sightings of snakes. Reptilians may interfere with disclosure. This is possible. Apparently, the reptilian influence that has been happening, they were kicked out of our solar system, according to information received from Elena Danan. But other people say they're still getting, they're still having problems with reptilians. It's a debatable topic. Maybe it's because of compromises humans have made in the ancient past or even recently. Hidden UFO alien meeting locations, Johnston Atoll, the Himalayas, Appalachians. There's supposedly something going on in the Appalachian Mountains. There's definitely an energy there. I feel it when I go through there. My sister lives not too far from the Appalachians, so I've spent some time around there. There's also still deep underground military bases. There's Area 51. There's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is what I believe a lot of the alien technology is stored there. I really believe it. Breakaway civilizations in Antarctica, there's probably still things going on there. Now, Elena Danan was saying that there was a report of a mass exodus of Germans in 2021 from Antarctica by somebody, a whistleblower, right? But I don't know if that's true. They might still be down there. Portals. There's some different portals. There's what's called Arak portal, are natural portals. And a lot of the space beings, they travel through these portals. But there's also the Ba, Stargate, artificial portals, and known as jump gates that some of the alien or extraterrestrial races make themselves. The Stargate in Iran, this may be why there's always so much conflict in the Middle East, that there's this Stargate there. And it probably connects to ancient things that have happened with maybe with Anunnaki. I will deal more with Anunnaki topics in my second presentation later today. So it's this 33.33 degree parallel Stargate. The line of latitude cuts right through the heart of Iran. So it is likely that one or more of these Stargates are hidden within the sacred hills of Persia, which I believe that connects to Ahura Mazda. The symbol, it looks like a space thing, space man. If you look it up, Ahura Mazda symbol. It's also used in Assyrian iconography. So are there any connections between these stargates and the current military operations in Iran? If so, would the military ever officially admit them? The stargates. Allegedly, there are multiple stargates along the 33.33 degree north latitude line around Earth. According to Maximilian de Lafayette, Maria Orsic spoke specifically about this 33.33 degree space timeline. She said that the extraterrestrials have used it before. It is a shortcut to other planets, stars, and galaxies. Maria Orsic was a contactee channeler, well, medium. She was a medium, but she received messages. They weren't really channeled. She was in a trance, and then they came through her. Some of it she wrote down, some was probably spoken. They would have meetings, the Brillerinnen, the Brill girls, ladies, they would have meetings together and they received these messages. Maria was reported to have a strange obsession with the number 33.33 because of its significance as a stargate. So the beings she received contact with were labeled by Elena Danan as the Jedi Anunnaki. It's a different race of Anunnaki. Apparently, there's different races. So apparently, the faction of the Anunnaki wanted to contact certain people on Earth. They chose Maria Orsic. One day in 1919, I think it was, or it could be 1917, Maria went into a trance and received communications from light beings. The beings resembled Nordic aliens or tall whites, and they revealed they were extraterrestrial messengers from Aldebaran. They communicated with her telepathically by mind transmission, revealing anti-gravity technology. There were two scripts. One was a German Templar script and one was a Sumerian script. This book, it's not shown here. It's in the next slide. This book, I recommend any books by Maximilian de Lafayette. They have a lot of information, whether it's valid. People can do their own research. But there's information in his books that I haven't seen in other places. When Professor W.O. Schumann asked her about that number, Maria replied, "This is how we get there from here." He did not understand what she meant. So she explained that the space timeline at 33.33 degrees latitude on and around Earth is where the stargates are located. They're the only way to escape Earth gravity and travel to the stars. She added, the extraterrestrials have used it before. It is a shortcut to other planets, stars, and galaxies. We said that, but re-emphasizing. Roswell, New Mexico is along a 33.3 degree latitude, which I didn't know. City of Roswell sits along the 33.3 degree north parallel, is infamous for its position in history and lore of ufology. I believe they were grays, and maybe there's different interpretations. They might have been robotics sent by the Greys, or they might have been living. I heard that they were seen during the crash. They were seen moving. But then when the military was called, the area was cordoned off, and anybody who saw it was told not to reveal it. Jesse Marcel Jr., I think he was here last year. But his father was one of those who was threatened and told not to say anything about it. So that's why they said, oh, this is just a weather balloon. But the materials, you would try to crinkle them up, and then they would become flat again. There was also a headband, and I believe that headband was used to pilot the ship. There's a lot more details, and I recommend reading. Hello. I recommend reading The Day After Roswell by Colonel Corso, Philip Corso. It has a lot of details, and I feel that they are true. Mount Hermon, the Anunnaki and Agigi are said to have descended to Earth through this stargate on the 33.33 degree north stargate. They probably were using that in ancient times to come here, and they had something to do with the creation of Adam and Eve, which is an upgrade of the beings that were already here that were brought here by the cedars. So it's this Mount Hermon is the same spot where the Nephilim are said to have descended to the earth. Some sources claim that Mount Hermon is 33.33 degrees north and 33.33 degrees east. It's not true. The actual coordinates are 33.41 and 35.85. I haven't done that research myself, but somebody gave me the information. You guys could look it up and see the cedars. This picture is online, but I've seen better pictures of them. Those who originally seeded this planet came back in a large fleet October 2021 to connect with the Earth Alliance to evaluate the potential for civilian contact. Official disclosure has moved forward during this time, but there still has not been a cloaking of the ships or an official intermingling of these species. I believe that there's still a contingent of the Intergalactic Confederation. They're around Jupiter, and they're in contact with Elena Danaan. So I would say if you're interested in that topic, research her work at elenadanaan.org. Starseed Envoy Program is a concept that means there are starseeds who were the starseeds. The way I see it, if you're a starseed, you have some genetics from extraterrestrial races in you, and you resonate with it. It's like you see something from your ancient past, and when you explore it, you hear about, say, Pleiadians. It resonates with you because those are some of our ancestors. We as Starseed Envoys chose to come here as messengers on a diplomatic mission to help raise the consciousness of humanity. Now that works with, I believe all spiritual people can work together on a positive timeline and positive thinking and Christ consciousness to raise the earth and get us ready to be a galactic civilization. We have to be on that higher consciousness. But the way society is set up, the control structure, which other people at this conference have talked about, the transhumanism, those people want to keep us in control, but we already have the Christ consciousness within us. We just have to wake that up. So people that are star seeds, or even people that are Christians or Hare Krishnas, different enlightened beings are going to work together in the long run to bring, say, the kingdom of heaven on earth. That's basically the end of my presentation. I have a bibliography listed. Passport to the Cosmos, John Mack is talking about abductions. That's a whole nother subject I'm not going to recover, but a lot of people who are abducted, they ended up receiving a lot of information about extraterrestrials. It opened them up. There's this Star Civilizations 101 is a good book. There's the Maria Orsic, Nikola Tesla, their extraterrestrial messages. The Occult and UFOs by Maximilian de Lafayette. The Prism of Lyra by Lisa Royal Holt. From Venus I Came by Omnic Onic, who says she's actually physically from Venus. She has a whole other group of teachings about the light and about God and about spirituality. There's also The Cedars. I have a couple books over there. I recommend The Cedars by Elena Danaan. There's Secrets of Antarctica by Brad Olson. I recommend that. I'm just starting to read it. There's A Gift from the Stars, Elena Danaan's first book. There's Myths from Mesopotamia to validate some of the Anunnaki stories. There's Eric Donikin's book. I like his one, Parents of the Gods, but there's another one. Can't think of the name of it. There's other books I recommend you could ask me personally. So I'm going to open up the floor for questions. I want to get your feedback. What do you all think about disclosure? Do you feel, I want to get people do you guys acknowledge that there's a galactic federation of worlds of alien civilizations that want to interact with us? So I'm opening up the floor for questions.
We got a mic.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, I think so, a little bit. What's your contact information for people at home that,
Oh, yes. Okay. I have Facebook under Brad Markus, Markus. I have Instagram. It'll say Intergalactic Research in my name, Brad Markus, Markus. You can contact me at supernova77@yahoo.com. I don't have a website, but I'm working on that. I'm working on a book about my extraterrestrial insights. I'm also working on a book about Sun Ra and his experiences. Spent a lot of time since 1997 researching Sun Ra, his music, his spirituality, extraterrestrial experiences. So those are the ways you can contact me.
Alan, if you go till 10 o'clock, you can start till 8.
Oh,
You have 8 minutes, 7 minutes, minimum, maybe more.
I want people.
Any questions?
I want people to answer the question: do you believe there's a galactic federation of worlds that is helping humanity? And if you have any questions, yes, please.
Yes, I do. I think that there is a galactic federation, and there is some, you could say some confusion over what the exact name is, but there's a galactic confederation, and they have a little bit of a standoffish approach, but they are still involved in limited ways. I mean, what happened in the early 2020s certainly eradicating most of the Draco.
Yes.
But I've heard that there's still some left hiding in places.
I believe they're still around. They're not totally gone, but they're trying to. They also left I mean, consciousness and thoughts. They don't go away right away. It's a constant battle, actually. There's also spiritual forces going on.
I mean, as far as disclosure goes, though, I think 2026 is for the ramp up, but 2027 and 2028 is when I think more of the big stuff will happen.
Oh, okay.
So
I always visualize harmonious things happening, but there's always going to be the dark stuff happening too. So, but
also, I'd like to state there was in 1960 there was the Brookings report. There's about 5 categories. There is culture, and there's also religion, there's science and engineering, and then there's the big oil machine, that sort of thing. And then there's something I added called appropriate technology. And I think those things, the resistances that existed in 1960 are much less than now. I think as a society, we're closer to accepting disclosure.
okay.
Right, I'll give two points. First one, I'll talk about the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and second thing, I'll talk about my thoughts on disclosure. I do think there is a Galactic Federation of Worlds. It goes by different names. Um, I do follow Elena Denon a lot, but there's others also who've mentioned things. So when you put the pieces together, there appears to be something there, and it does seem to be coming to a crescendo now after many years or potentially decades. One quick story I'll relay is I was at the GSIC conference, Galactic Spiritual Informers Conference,
Which
in
year?
2024 outside of Denver, and we had a very
there.
very surprising show at night in the sky. And so
Yes.
I went out, I had my cell phone ready. I wasn't sure what to expect. Reading this stuff for the past 10 years is one thing, but to see it with your own two eyes is another. So Elena supposedly months in advance asked her contact for, I guess it's Thorhan, asked, please put on a show, which is kind of a ridiculous thing to ask for to put on a show when you're busy doing, military things and working with, you know, uh, hidden parts of of militaries in the world, right? But in any event, we did have a show. So the first flyover, literally right above our head, was a couple TR-3Bs, and they were crystal clear. And I caught some stuff on my cell phone, and she said that was our people. I mean, that was the U.S. or Earth military.
What about the lights?
Yeah, that's getting to that. So there are two flyovers. So the first one was that one, and then some minutes later there were at a much higher elevation, so not kind of in our atmosphere, but kind of at the border of Earth and space. There was alien craft. Now I've seen rocket launches. I live in South Florida, so I've been to Cape Canaveral, and I've seen rocket launches. I've seen they're actually SpaceX, so when they go up, they actually kind of disengage with a fuselage. So you're actually watching in space what's going on, and then it comes down to Earth. So I know what it looks like to see something in space, and it's kind of a little bit foggy because you're looking at it through the atmosphere. That's what it looked like to see all these multicolored craft. So first off, the TR-3Bs were all like bright, kind of lime green glittering. They were not the standard navigation red and green. So that's a big tip off there. And second, and just the speed they were going and how smooth they were was ridiculous. The ones in space were every single color you could imagine, and they were flying in a formation sort of like birds fly, but not exactly. But they were just kind of going through the sky. And once again, they were going unbelievably fast. So we all caught it on our cell phones. But if that was, at the border of space, I have no idea how fast they were going. It was ridiculously fast. And Elena said, those were not ours, it was theirs. So it's this Thorhan and his ET crew that were, piloting those.
You saw them, right?
Saw them with my own two eyes, and I tell you, it's amazing.
Now, Kevin Luengo and John Charles Moyen are saying they were birds.
No, 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 no. In fact, I'll tell you something funny. Some people were joking. Birds aren't at the border of Earth and space, and they don't have 50 zillion colors. And this was not quite a bird formation. It was bird-like, but it was different. And they wouldn't like be zigzagging and doing stuff. It wasn't like a straight line. It was absolutely not. In fact, I'll tell you something funny. On the YouTube, was it YouTube or it might have been X or somewhere, people were commenting, and a few people said the bird thing. And I was the person who commented, yeah, that's just absolutely ridiculous because common sense. I mean, I'm an engineer by training. It's not birds. It's not, absolutely not. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Yeah. But in any event, so what I was going to say,
Clarifying that. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
oh, you're
For
welcome. You're
me,
welcome.
I was standing right next to Danny Henderson.
Yeah.
That was happening, so
Exactly.
greetings,
These things are
my
going
friends, I'm staying along exactly.
Anybody, and by the way, I've seen a whole bunch of air shows also. I live in Florida, so in Fort Lauderdale every year there's a big air show, and I go to that. And I've seen very good military aircraft. There's no comparison between the top of what's public in the military and what's kind of hidden in the SSP or this alien tech, which we may have reverse engineered some of it. No comparison. So in any event, so all those things, I just don't even waste my breath on it because it's just stupid. So it's real. When is it going to be revealed to the public? It kind of already is. Disclosure is a long process. All of us here, we don't need it. We already know it. But the second part of what I was going to comment in on, I do think this is a big year, and I do think this is the start of big things. I was telling somebody here earlier that I don't think this is the year of quote unquote disclosure. I think this is the year, based on Trump's comments just whatever it was last week, and what may happen this summer, what he'll talk about. I think this is the beginning of really presenting this formally to the global public from global governments saying, hey, look, here's the truth, right? We couldn't quite tell you all this for the last, 50, 70, 80 years, but now we are, and more is going to be coming in the coming year. And I think there'll be a slow shift in the global culture. So right now, if you're an airline pilot or an Air Force pilot or whatever, and you see something in the sky when you're flying, and you think it might be UFO, UAP, you're gonna kind of keep your mouth shut because you don't want to lose your job or look like an idiot.
It's been like that for years.
Exactly. I think after this year, once a few announcements are made, I think the culture will slowly open up and people like that will be a little bit more free to speak. And so that's how things, I think, will change. It's not so much like a big change, it's more like cracking a door open, and then after that, the door slowly opens. So those are my two thoughts.
Oh, wow. Thank you
Sure,
for
you're welcome.
verifying
That's
that.
gonna be the last question. It's past 10
I
o'clock.
know. I wanted to get Brett Luter's comments about the Galactic Federation being stepped out. Anybody here wants to, Lisa, she's not here. But I can, I wanted to get Brett's.
Well, I could say something that is, it's not really disclosure, but because of the government and laws that I know, there is something called Government Code Section 54950 and 11120. You should look that up. My phone charging, so I don't have that. But there's a tie-in. Those two things will tell you what has happened. And we've lost our control of the government. And the government is not our government. We've been invaded. But,
Probably true. I mean, there's factions
probably,
in all the
absolute.
governments of the world.
Say what?
There's factions in the governments of the world. That's
Right.
the issue. It's factions. It's not just
Right.
one government. There's shadow governments. There's supposedly the Earth Alliance is working with the Galactic Federation. I never hear any government officials say they're working with the Galactic Federation.
Right.
If it's a truth, it must be happening behind the scenes and they can't reveal it at all.
Yeah, since you
It has to
mentioned
be like that.
Yeah. Since you mentioned the word faction, that's part of George Washington's farewell address to the American people.
Oh,
He did not want anyone to have, this government to have political parties because they create factions. So that was
hello, Sean.
a very
I
important word.
wanted to get your insight about the Galactic Federation. Do you want to say a couple words? Lee?
Sure, and then I gotta.
I know you guys are you guys starting
The
here?
panel has been moved over there, so you can take a few more minutes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, like what?
What Sean Bond is a good friend of mine who is doing a lot of work with the disclosure and the finding of our ancient connections in Mexico. I wanted to get your viewpoint on the Galactic Federation and anything else you want to share, since this is my time to speak, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Sure. With what I've tuned into and had conversations with and different races, there are certain people that are incarnating on this planet that have versions of themselves in this galaxy-wide kind of government system of a natural law enforcement from dimensional top-down influence going deeper. Some are factions interacting with this world, going into process of disclosure and the process of a growth kind of explosive evolution, people call ascension, whatever kind of format that's going on here. There's problem solving, and people have either just invested full versions of themselves here while having their soul family involved, while or having a simultaneously existing version of themselves in a governing system. Now there is not without certain faults, because it's governments of system of reflection of our internal body of the control systems, but it's doing the best it can, and there are factions all over, and it's a big place, the galaxy, right? And so
Thank you for your insight.
Yeah.
I'll be at the panel. I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank Saeed David Barman for allowing me to speak. I have another talk later about the Anunnaki. So I want you guys to join me, or anybody that wants to.
You know where it's gonna be, Brad?
I don't know.
Okay.
I believe it's upstairs.
Okay.
It's upstairs in one of the rooms. What's the room that starts with that?
Monterey.
Yeah, I think it's in Monterey. I'm scheduled at 2. I may switch with ocean sky. I don't know. Okay, I'm done. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. We love you. We thank you.
Looking more.
All right. I want to go watch the other thing.
Yeah.
It worked out pretty good. I want to go watch.